Hello everybody and welcome back to my setup series, and this time we're at Baku, and as you can obviously hear, I'm trying to change things. So this is the first time I'm going to be doing this in English, so if you feel like I should change something, feel free to comment down below. But yeah, we arrived at Baku where I did one lap in time trial and did a 37.6, but my PB is a 37.1, so the setup is very good in quali. And its main advantage is that it is insanely good in the race and actually stable. So I enjoyed Baku with this setup, so I'm gonna go through it and tell you what you might change if you run into some problems with it. Alright, so we're starting off with 2.8 wings. I found out that 2.8 wings felt a lot better than 2.7 wings, which is what most of the people were running, but 2.8 wings allowed me to be a lot more stable in the middle sector and then go for some interesting suspension settings, which I will go over later. If you want to soften the suspension, then I would probably suggest that in the end you reduce your aero to 2.7, but 2.8 felt really good. It helped with the rear tires. Rear tire wear is everything in Baku. If you can keep the rear tires alive, you can keep your pace alive. So that's that. Now you move on to the transmission. Of course, we have 50% on throttle diff as always, and then we have 53% off throttle diff. This is the lowest I could get without getting turn in oversteer. If you get turn in oversteer with 50% off throttle diff, I suggest increasing it by 1% to 54, of course. So 1% does make a rather large difference in the off throttle diff. So try to keep that in mind, that you will lose some pace, but it might make the car more stable on entry in the race, especially on old tires, like if you're going for some really old softs. Then we move on to the suspension geometry. We have front camber to the max as usual to get that maximum rotation going. The rear camber I set in the middle because I couldn't find a setting that I felt really comfortable with. So I picked the middle because it didn't change much. So I picked the middle because that guaranteed the minimal amount of tire wear. So that's that. And the same with front toe and rear toe. You can play some with some rear toe if you reduce the rear suspension. Then I would suggest adding some front toe, not rear toe. But I would definitely suggest to keep your fingers away from rear toe just because tire wear is so high in Baku. Next up we move on to the suspension. As you can see, I went for the 111 max aggression. This of course puts some gives us some insane turn-in, which is why I had to make sure that the rest of the setup was quite stable. If you struggle with accelerating over the curbs, for example out of turn 3, then I'd suggest lowering the rear suspension by a click or two and then adding some front toe. However, 111 found me to give some really good response, and then I chose the anti-roll bars to make them more stable than usual. So I only went with 1.6. This gives us some good mid-corner stability, which is great for accelerating out of the castle section. So we can really put the throttle down and have a stable car in that corner while still getting great response, so you can actually get into the corner. And then for rider height, I went a bit of a different way this time. I experimented with what some people were doing was 6.3 ride height, but I found out that the car was really drifting into the corner. If you like that, you can do this. So you can run with 6.3 ride height, but the car is drifting into the corner, so you probably will have to up the differential or do something else and like soften the suspension. However, of course, this will increase tire wear. If you don't like it, I would suggest setting it to 3.3. On most tracks, you would go for the rake, so like front lower than here. But I found out that the rake would make the car quite unstable in the race in Baku, so I just let it be. Um, Brake pressure. Actually, I have something interesting to tell you here. So we have 100% brake pressure and 50% brake bias. If you are going for some tire saving strategy. Like you can do a medium to soft one stop or a soft to medium one stop if you're very kind to your tires. And I'd suggest on the old softs that you increase the front brake bias by 1 or 2% to make sure that the car doesn't spin itself in the turn in at the start of the second sector, for example. This also will protect the rear tires furthermore, but it will just give you the additional stability while still remaining the response that you get throughout the system. setup. And of course, you have the tire pressures. They are all set to minimum. Though I have to say, Baku's tires are so cold that it doesn't really matter. You can just the main thing is to protect the tires in the race, um, have a stable but responsive setup, and not get damaged. So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, leave a like on below and comment. Yes, I'm doing that now. Really funny, I know. And I hope you enjoyed it. This was me, Grund. See ya. Bye bye.